Delayed but not denied. Happy to speak with you now. It looks like I am on the air. We've got a early part of the week with featuring rain and clouds. It might not clear out until Wednesday afternoon. We finally then kind of break into a little bit more sunshine, a little bit more warmth by the end of the week. And our two breeziest, almost windy days are looking like Monday and Friday. But before then, just make sure you keep that umbrella around with you Monday and Tuesday, perhaps even into Wednesday morning. Average temperatures right there, 74 for high, 53 for low. We're going to run notably below average on Monday and Tuesday, but finally getting closer, if not slightly above average, with our warmest day of the week, perhaps on Thursday. Hi again, Campbell Walker for CaptainWeatherGang.com. Thanks for joining me on these weekly Sunday Sunset Chats. David, good evening. Maria, hello. Thanks for joining in. Our latest forecast right here at CWG.news/latest. And please, you can join me for these weekly Sunday Sunset Chats. David, thanks for tuning in as well. Peter and Paul, appreciate you guys tuning in as well. We're watching radar tonight. Downpours cannot be ruled out. One or two patchy instances of flooding possible. Remember, turn around, don't drown if you encounter flood covered roadways with floodwaters ahead of you. Please remember, it doesn't take much to float a car, but overall, not expecting widespread flooding, just some wind advisories along the shores of the Chesapeake Bay, and I believe a flood watch in southeastern Virginia, down near Virginia Beach. But we are happy, gardeners and farmers especially, are happy to see this rain. We will get to the drought situation on the East Coast, and we will look at the rainfall we've seen over the last couple of weeks as well. But again, our latest forecast at CWG.news/latest, it is going to be pesky rain with us through perhaps Wednesday morning as we have this upper level low pressure system, this trough sitting over us that has spawned a developing surface low pressure system off of the mid-Atlantic. A little bit ghost of Ian is what some are terming it. It is a non-tropical low pressure system though, so keep that in mind. Aaron, hello. Hello, Carol. Just returned from Myrtle Beach. I am glad you were okay from Hurricane Ian. Rick, let's see. We are generally done with the heat and humidity that we're moving into October, and I'll show you the trends are your friend in that department. Aaron is loving the cooler weather, and Scott, indeed, well below average this week, a high in the mid-50s possible. And next weekend, Jennifer, we'll get to that shortly, but I'll give you the quick highlight that looks like cool, sunny, maybe breezy. All right, we've got Rick. Hello, and Liz, hello. You wish it wasn't quite so raw with the cooler weather. You wish kind of cooler and dry. I'm with you on that. And Barbara, not much, if anything, is left of Ian at this point. This is a non-tropical low pressure system. Ghost of Ian is what some are terming it. I guess I can see lower pressures were already extant at the surface that may have helped the upper level low pressure system produce tonight this surface low pressure system, but it's non-tropical and very loosely, indirectly associated with Ian. So it is hard to draw a line from A to B on that. Mary, you're most welcome, and Faraday, you're most welcome. And we've got Rick and Mary and Paul. Dry enough on Tuesday. Paul, I would not count on it to do much yard work. And Chris, let's get closer to Halloween before we do some snow flurries. Carol, I'm glad indeed you were lucky with Hurricane Ian in Myrtle Beach. Laura, thanks for tuning in from YouTube. You missed summer. I hope to get you some sun and warmth by Thursday. That looks like our warmest day of the week, so keep that in mind. And Lisa likes the dreary weather to help appreciate the beautiful weather coming later this week. I like how you spin positive. And Keely, a wind indeed expected tomorrow and Friday are the two breeziest days of the week. I don't think any serious tree toppling wind to be expected. Generally gusts staying around 25 miles per hour tomorrow, maybe a gust to 30. Generally takes above 50 mile per hour gusts to worry about trees toppling. So that's the good news, and I can appreciate if your soils are moist that you do want to watch that. All right, camping next weekend, Jennifer, let's get to that right now. I want to show you a sneak preview of what we can expect. So here are temperatures for next Saturday. I'm not willing to really go all the way out into Sunday just yet, but sneak preview for upper 50s west of DC and around 60 to maybe even some mid 60s south and east of DC. So with sunshine that's currently expected, again, allow for forecast tweaks as we get closer. It could be a little bit breezy but sunny with this temperature regime near 60 to mid 60s for next Saturday, and Sunday looks much the same as it stands now. So please stay tuned to CaptainWeatherGang.com as we get closer, and looking a little further out into next work week, just a trend, an outlook for you. Very decent chance of below average temperatures continuing next work week as well. Average high down to 71 degrees Fahrenheit at DC Airport. So our benchmark is still a little bit warm, I would argue, but if we have a decent chance, probability-wise, of staying below average, we probably will not make it to the 70-degree mark next work week much. But it remains to be seen as we get closer. We'll have a higher confidence forecast by next weekend for next work week. Precipitation, looking dry. Decent probability of dry precipitation below average for next work week. And what I want you to take from this is that we are enjoying some beneficial rains now. It may be hard to get that next work week as well, so we could kind of swing the pendulum back toward dry conditions next work week as well. So drought-wise, we're doing okay, but along much of the East Coast from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, down to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, we could still use a little bit more rain. Not a very serious drought, except for a couple spots in Massachusetts, maybe New Jersey. Drought, as you can see, much better shape in the drought department east of the Mississippi River than west of the Mississippi River, but we're doing okay in the last couple weeks. Ian's rains in this low pressure system, this ghost of Ian, which is just a non-tropical surface low pressure system developing tonight. These are beneficial rains that we're going to receive through perhaps Wednesday morning. The last 2 weeks pictured here, we're doing better. At least 100% of rainfall as we would normally see in the last 2 weeks if you were in the green. And blues, you had bonus rains, and the purples are the wettest spots. Much less red and orange than we looked at last Sunday. So we are kind of trying to kick the deficit of rain that we've had in recent 2-week periods, which have added up to some abnormally dry conditions, as you see in the drought monitor, which is a longer term graphic indicator there on the top graphic. So that is the good news. We are receiving beneficial rain. We can use this inch or two of rain from this low pressure system, non-tropical surface low pressure system that's going to meander off of the mid-Atlantic coast for the next couple of days through perhaps Wednesday morning. So we will take it. Gardeners and farmers likely agree with me. All right, let's see, mid to late October. Chris, you're looking at some weather there. Could be fairly cool, and indeed, I think brisk and fall-like weather has a higher chance of occurring, especially when we looked at the temperature regime possible for next work week, which has a decently high probability of being below 70 degrees. So keep that in mind. And Liz, let's talk about foliage. I don't think it's quite optimal, even in the higher elevations west of the city. Here's the typical timeline. Generally, by the way, it aligns pretty well with our first expected frost freezes that we can expect of the season. And that could be coming up this upcoming weekend. I don't think there's no color in the Shenandoah worth seeing, but you might want to wait till kind of closer to mid to late October to go along Skyline Drive. I would argue, though, it does get crowded when there's peak color there, so remember, there's the trade-offs. There's trade-offs if you do wait till the ultimate peak color as we get toward the Skyline Drive peak in mid to late October. And then DC and Baltimore can wait until early November for some of our peak foliage, kind of along the I-95 corridor. Just it's a little bit warmer in these lower elevations along and east of I-95 as well. Now, while I'm down in the kind of fall-like category, let's talk about first freeze potential. As you can see, and as alluding to, this upcoming weekend, if we don't see as much breeze as currently expected, we could see some higher elevations west of town have some spots near the freezing mark. We could see a frost even at 34 degrees if we do see that low temperature potential in the Shenandoah Valley and higher elevations of the Blue Ridge and Appalachians. So keep that in mind if you want to bring in your plants. This could be, a kind of a 1 or 2 chance potential for this upcoming weekend, but we're getting into frost and freeze season along with foliage season. So they're tied, of course, as the weather gets cooler and the days get a little bit shorter, the chlorophyll dies in the leaves, and that's what produces the brilliant colors behind the dying green chlorophyll. So we're getting there. We are getting there. It's becoming fall-like in many of the weather departments. So I hope you can prepare to see the colors as we get into late October into early November. And of course, if you live in higher elevations west of the city this weekend, please consider bringing in those sensitive plants in case you still want to keep growing some things and herbs and vegetables in the garden as well. All right, tropics, really quick. Let's review that we are down through the ice storm. Obviously, Ian is what we just crossed off. Julia is our next storm. Perhaps in the next 5 days, that red indicated disturbance near Cabo Verde Islands off of the west coast of Africa has moved off with a decently high chance of developing in the next 5 days into Julia. Could be a tropical depression within 5 days and maybe a named storm soon after that. We'll keep you posted at capitalweathergang.com. But currently not seeing any imminent threats to the eastern United States. We'll watch that disturbance heading into the Caribbean Sea. Right now, a low chance that disturbance develops in the next 5 days. Nigel has a good advice on the Skyline Drive for seeing the colors, the peak foliage as we get into late October. Try and avoid the weekends as well. All right, again, reviewing that we could use this beneficial rainfall from not only Ian as it kind of disintegrated over us, its remnants, and now this non-tropical low pressure system that's developing off the East Coast. These are beneficial rains. We are going to see 1 to 2 inches by the time things are said and done on Wednesday morning, and that will continue to help our abnormally dry conditions, especially around the Bay and Delmarva regions of the Mid-Atlantic. So let's take it while we can get it, and it should put us in much better shape, especially when looking at the precipitation leanings for next work week. It looks like it could be, on balance, drier than not work week next week as well. And temperatures, again, highlighting this below average temperature regime that we're seeing through at least Wednesday morning or so, could continue next work week as well. And our average high temperatures are cooling down to 71 degrees. And we might not even see this if this probability of leaning below average continues into next work week. We might have a hard time getting to 70 degrees more often than not. And here's your sneak preview for next weekend. Upper 50s to maybe mid 60s south and east of town, kind of coolest northwest and warmest southeast of DC. We could see some sun, some breezes, generally leaning toward dry conditions for the weekend. So if you are camping, like I think a couple of you might be camping this weekend, please enjoy. And yes, there could be some low-level color developing in the upper elevations of the Shenandoah and Blue Ridge, the Shenandoah Valley this weekend, and maybe Skyline Drive has some opportunity to see some color. Here is the weather story. What's driving our weather this week is the mid to upper levels are cool. It's a trough of low pressure. It's going to be persistent more often than not through this upcoming weekend. And as we were talking a moment ago, maybe into next work week as well. So that is what is going to be persistent. That this upper level low pressure system is what is spawning the surface low pressure system off the mid-Atlantic that's developing tonight and bringing us some downpours as well. Thanks so much for tuning into these weekly Sunday Sunset Chats. I'm Camden Walker over CapitalWeatherGang.com, simulcasting live to you right now on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. Please make sure you're following us on all our social media channels and also on Instagram. We are getting earlier and earlier with these chats. You'll see me 11 minutes earlier even next week, I think around 6:37 p.m. And of course, we are now past the equinox, and that's why we have less than 12 hours of daylight from sunrise to sunset. Rain tomorrow and Tuesday, even into Wednesday morning, Rachel, off and on waves of showers, and even a downpour can't be ruled out. And looking forward to seeing the sun, Kristen. We might have to wait till Wednesday afternoon, but it is coming back, I promise. And fall weather for the next 2 weeks, Tom. That's one way to headline a lot of this weather story over the next couple weeks. It is generally below average, though, which is kind of, I would argue, a little cooler, a little sooner than we'd normally expect. Here's our latest forecast at CWG.news/latest by Greg Porter. He did our PM update, highlighting the breezes tomorrow and the downpours tonight. And the waves of rain and showers continue Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday morning as well. That's what we're talking about. Breezy days Monday and Friday, warmest day on Thursday. And again, our average high temperature, high temperature we should be seeing this time of year is about 74 degrees. We might get there on Thursday, which is looking like our warmest day of the week. So if you are tired of the clouds and the below average chill, well below average chill, almost 20 degrees below average for Monday and Tuesday, high temperatures in the mid 50s, wait till Wednesday afternoon into Thursday and perhaps Friday. We'll see how a stronger but dry leaning cold front on Friday moves into the region. We should still eke out one last sunny and warm day, but it could be breezy, as I indicated there with that breezy emoji. So we do again have Friday being breezy, and tomorrow being breezy as well. We could see some wind gusts, 25, maybe a gust to around 30 miles an hour tomorrow. And it's slowly waning as we get especially into Tuesday afternoon, and then another notch lower, maybe calmer breezes by Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. So it's, we're getting into that time of year with these nor'easters, these storm low pressure systems developing off the coast. We're going to start seeing more and more windy, breezy conditions. And of course, we're watching radar tonight. It is fairly active. Downpours can't be ruled out, even 1 or 2 patches of flooding, but nothing widespread, just some wind advisories along the coasts of the bay and some flood watches in southeastern Virginia. But we could use this rain overall, 1 to 2 inches through perhaps Wednesday morning. And generally, I think gardeners, farmers, most of us will take it. It is not a bad thing. We were abnormally dry in some spots, especially along and east of I-95 and along the East Coast, and the Delmarva too is a notable dry spot. So let's see, here's a simulated radar for the next few days. You can see the low pressure system meander off the coast. It kind of sneaks away, comes back. It's a cutoff low pressure system. It's been spawned, it's non-tropical, and it's been spawned by an upper level, persistent upper level trough, a cool trough over us in the mid-Atlantic. And it's just going to sit there. Here, actually, let me first show you Monday, which looks a lot like Tuesday. There it is, the low pressure system throwing us some rain in the green off of the coast. Tuesday, not much change. We've got rain chances continuing into Tuesday as well. Ruth Elisa, Friday looks breezy, maybe mild, and generally sunny. That's what we're leaning toward right now. Pamela G, thanks for tuning in from YouTube. I'm glad you're loving the rain. I think you will see me next Sunday, but I'll keep you posted. Kristen, I always try and let you know about an hour in advance if I'm doing a live post. I try and do that preview announcement post. But that's a good point. I'll work with my editor to see if it's better for him if I do next Monday for a holiday edition of our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. And then Adandra, this is very weakly and directly related to Ian, this non-tropical low pressure system off the coast that's developing tonight. It's been referred to as the ghost of Ian. Really, Ian's remnants did disintegrate over us. It created kind of lower pressure fields here at the surface, but the main spawning element that developed this low pressure system is the mid and upper levels, the troughiness. It's an upper level cutoff low pressure system. It's a trough of low pressure over us. It's bringing us a cool atmosphere, a trough of low pressure that's able to telegraph that lower pressure down to the surface, and that's what's formed this non-tropical low pressure system, kind of a weak nor'easter, our first of the season, off of the mid-Atlantic coast. So this is kind of the weather story this week, the mid and upper levels driving our cooler temperatures, driving the development of this low pressure and this rain through perhaps Wednesday morning. It's going to keep us cloudy and damp, so make sure you have that umbrella on you through Wednesday morning as well. Thanks, Paul. Yep, I'll see you next Sunday or Monday, maybe a holiday edition of our weekly chats next Monday. I'll work with my editor, and of course, I'll give you that hour heads up either on Sunday or Monday, depending, but there's always a pre-announcement for you. I think especially on Facebook, it always posts, and yes, and YouTube as well. All right, let's see. We've got Tuesday's rain could lighten a little bit. Justine, I like your idea of kind of drizzle and some lighter showers. It's possible on Tuesday, but here's kind of a simulated radar. This rain is not moving away fast. I like to call it waves of showers and light, steady rain by Tuesday, perhaps. And here's the surface map for Tuesday. Again, the low pressure is just too nearby to write it off as many dry moments on Tuesday. So stay tuned. We might have a better sense as we get much closer to Tuesday on exact timing of some of these rain bands. And of course, make sure you're following us on Twitter. That's where we give you some of our kind of play-by-play updates hour by hour if we're watching radar together. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. One more minute, I'm live, and you'll see me 11 minutes earlier. Next Sunday or Monday, we'll figure out if we're doing a holiday Monday edition, but Sunday sunset next week is at 6:37. We are losing that evening daylight. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com, thanking you for tuning in, and anytime you need us, of course, we're there on the blog on CapitalWeatherGang.com. Here it is, your forecast for the week ahead. Breezy, if not slightly windy, tomorrow and Friday. Latest forecast at CWG.news/latest. Radar is going to look a lot like this through Wednesday morning, perhaps, as this low pressure It's non-tropical. It's a surface low pressure system, a weak nor'easter, bringing us the breezes, the clouds through perhaps Wednesday morning. It's going to be wet, so please keep that umbrella on you. And yes, we should be a little bit warmer this time of year. Here's our average high at 74. We finally popped toward that on our warmest day, which looks like Thursday, which might be our calmest and sunniest day of the week. But breezes return again on Friday, even though generally sunny skies and generally dry conditions can be expected. All right, thank you all for tuning in. Maria loves the rain. Thanks for tuning in from YouTube. Courtney, I miss the sun as well. You should see it Wednesday afternoon into evening. And Foliage Forecast, Michael, I'll go to that really quickly for you before I bid you all adieu for the week. And it generally looks like mid to late October for the higher elevations west of the city. And again, this is average, this is typical. But so far, everything is on schedule, I would argue. But if you're around DC, kind of along and east of I-95, you might have to wait till early November before the colors really get going. So, David, you're most welcome. Take care, everyone. Please have a good week. And I will see you next weekend, either Sunday or holiday edition on Monday, for our next weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. Anytime you need us, we're at capitalweathergang.com. Take care.